G'day folks, here we have another front load washing machine to kill, but just before we do it I thought I'd do a little bit of a tour and show you what they're made up of and what you really got to look out for when you're picking them up to either use or destroy. Main thing is the drum support. This one doesn't rattle around or move up and down like I can lift up on this lip, and it doesn't actually try and float around on its drive plate, so that sort of indicates that it's alright. Same with bearings. This one's a little bit rough and I can hear a coin floating around inside. Yeah, it's just like a 20-cent piece or something. There's probably a few in here. And the door, well, that's a bit buggered because this forklift damaged this one, but that doesn't matter. Soap trays and things. Make sure the electronics work if you want to use it, but that's not important if you want to kill it, because we're not going to be using any of them. Yeah, they're pretty basic. This one's the same, mechanically the same as the Electrolux Time Manager that I killed last time. It's also the same as the LG and Telewasher. They're essentially the exact same machine. This one has the exact same metal cabinet, just a different control panel to the Electrolux model. This is a Westinghouse, I think. Yeah, it's a Westinghouse LF652D. So yeah, basically all you're buying is a piece of cheap shit, no matter what brand they print on it. All they do is change that and maybe the bezel on the door, plastic trim. Everything else is the same. I don't know exactly where they're made, but it's got to be some cheap nasty country. Yeah, doesn't say. Probably made in China or somewhere. There's a vacuum or pressure switch for the water leveling. They're kind of handy. Solenoid valves for the mains water pressure. Again, they're pretty good. This one here is only cold water input, doesn't use hot water. That's mains power going into that terminal strip, the barrier strip, and that soap dump going into the drum. So there's not a lot to them. I have to turn this on its side because I can't get the back panel off. But the motor's down there, and that's the most important bit in this experiment. Well, the upcoming experiment. I'm not going to do it tonight. Might just put some power to it and see how well it spins. Here's a couple of motors that I pulled out of the other two machines at the scrapyard. The other two already had smashed drive plates. I think one of them was because the forklift picked it up with the tines and crushed it, and the other one probably broke before it even got there. The rest of the machine was in good nick. Just the drive plate had collapsed and the drum was just floating around inside and jamming up. So that's what this motor's out of. The one that had been forcibly crushed had this motor in it. Electrically they're the same. They're a series wound repulsion, or not repulsion, but just universal motor. Yeah. As you've seen in the past videos from me and Brad recently, these things can be a load of fun. You just got to work out what's field, what's brush, and just wire them through in series if you want to make them last a bit longer, or just put power straight to the brushes with a variac if you just want to burn the thing out quick. Oops, we'll try not to trip over the airline. This one's had a lot of use. It's all full of black carbon dust. Might not work again. And that brush looks a bit chewed up. Yeah, that one's a bit raw. One thing they do change on these machines is the mounting of the motor. They always change them from model to model so that the brand name, say Westinghouse, can sell their own replacement motor, but the one from the LG might require a bit of work to fit. That's the LG model. And again, it's different to whatever this one was. I can't remember what that machine was. The front panel was ripped off it, but it used Torx screws, so I just smashed the drum and ripped it out quick. Didn't have all night to muck around with it. And again, the terminals also changed too, so it's not the easiest to swap motors around. That one's a much smaller strip. Yeah, turn it on its side. We'll just show you the underside of the machine, then we'll get some power onto the motor and make some noise. Get a good water hose. Well, there we have the motor. That's what you're after. And terminal block on, it's accessible. I did kill the spider in there, it was a nasty little red back. So be wary of that, they get spiders living in them. Sometimes they have plastic over them, which is where a hammer comes in handy. Just knock it all off. It's easy enough. Nothing up that side. There's the main drain pump, which is probably full of crap because of what's gone through it. Yeah. Trouble is the base is part of the machine structure, so you don't want to take it all off completely, or the whole thing falls apart. We've got two spring-loaded struts supporting the drum assembly. But rewiring this plug's the main priority. Might not even have to. I'll see if my starting controller up there will plug straight into it. If not, I've got a few other alternatives. Alright, no need to modify this plug. I've just got to anchor it somewhere for the test. You don't want to get ripped off halfway through the death of the machine. I'm trying to work out what punched that hole. I'm guessing it was the back of the motor. Oh, it was the shaft. It was the output shaft of the motor tried to escape through the back of the housing. Doesn't seem to have hurt it though. As I said before, some use a narrower plug, but you just got to work out what's brush and what's field and just wire them however you want. So let's see if this thing will jog. Turn that bank on. That's the testing bank. Nope. Ooh, slipping belt. That's what I want. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Let's stand this thing up and do some modifications. Alright, we're all wired up to go. I ended up cutting a hole in the side with a grinder and taped the wiring in there to a loom. Just bound the entire terminal block and everything together with tape. So, yeah, it's not going to come off. Worst thing is if the bloody wires get ripped out halfway through the Carnage and it kills it. So, main thing is you don't lose your wiring. Not meant for high torque startup, that's how it burns the belts out. That's what the squeal is. I suppose we better rev it up and break it in by feeding it a cardboard box. Something a bit harmless. And a few other things. that kind of wrecked it. Funny thing is that box came via UPS and it had a sprocket that big in it. Funnily enough, the sprocket didn't try and exit the box, which is kind of what UPS is renowned for. But I can see why they would package a tiny little sprocket in something like that if they are going to send it via UPS. But since it survived the washing machine, I guess that explains why it survived UPS. Good stuff. So yeah, stay tuned for a video on the destruction of this thing. I'll try and get Brad to come down, and maybe a few other people will have a washing machine smash up day. Do it the proper way with friends. Killing stuff's always fun when you got friends around. This one's got a cross brace on top of it too. The last one didn't have that, I don't think. I can just see that getting torn clean off once this thing goes mental. So we've got 2 flywheels, and a few pulleys and things, so we'll have to introduce some very heavy objects to it whilst it's at full speed. Oh, that's that one. Thanks for watching.